Hi everyone, I'm Lori from Lori's Country Cottage. I'd like to welcome you to the third How Tuesday as we feature different team members from Lori's as they pick and demonstrate their favorite tools. This week we are featuring Barb. Barb has extensive teaching experience, 15 years in Fort Saskatchewan, and maybe you recognize her from Lori's or from other place in Sherwood Park, Glen Allen. She taught for 19 years at Glen Allen. 21 years ago, Barb took a photo memory class from me and I got her hooked. And ever since, she has been quilting up a storm. So why don't we welcome Barb to our How Tuesday.
Hi, I'm Barb from Lori's Country Cottage, and I'm going to show you some of my favorite things. I looked around my sewing room and I picked out the things that I cannot live without. So if you're like me and you love these things as much as I do when you see them, you better pause this now and get yourself a pen and paper so that you can write them down and not forget, because these are really special. Not very expensive, but really special. The first thing I'm going to show you will be a ruler shield for your hands. Looks like this in the package, and it looks like this on the ruler. And I will show you how that works. Another thing I'm going to show you is my electric seam ripper, and if you've ever been in one of my classes, you've seen this before. Another one is a marking mechanical pencil, makes a beautiful fine line, and I'm going to demo that for you. And the last thing I'm going to do is my iron off. And if you've got a dirty iron, and believe me, if you haven't cleaned your iron in a while, look at the bottom, it will be dirty. And I'm going to show you how to get it sparkling clean again. Oh, one more thing I'm going to show you are these little guys. I call them Q-tips, but they're actually called micro brushes. And they're great for cleaning out the dust in your machine that you can't even see. You'll see it when it comes out. Okay, let's start. Let's start with the seam ripper. Mine looks a little different than the ones we have in the shop now because mine's probably 15 years old. Still works great. I think I've replaced the battery twice in those 15 years, and it just takes a little AA battery, and it lasts for a long, long time. So I've stitched together a quick little seam. When you're going to use your seam ripper, the electric one, you're going to want to pick out a couple of stitches to get started. You need a little piece to hang on to get started. So you want to be able to open it up a bit. And then I just turn it on. I put one hand down here to hold this. If I had three hands, it would be really nice, but I don't. So I put one hand down here, the other hand pulling this to keep some tension on the threads, and then I just let this do its thing. And I can't promise you that it will never cut your fabric, but for 15 years I've used it, it has never once cut mine. And you saw I'm not terribly careful with it. I just let it buzz along. Now you're going to find that you have the little hairs from the, that are left over from the seam ripper. If you happen to have one of these little puppies, it's a seam ripper, a manual seam ripper, which works fine. But the reason I love it is this rubber end. And so you can take it and just run it along, and those threads just lift up. And then you take a lint brush, and gone. Done. So I wouldn't be without this and this because of this. So that's the seam ripper. While I have this, I'm going to show you how slick it is to have. I have it on my 8.5-inch ruler. Any 24-inch ruler, in my opinion, should have one. It's a safety feature, so you don't need to wear the Platz gloves, and you don't need to worry. You could still hurt yourself with a cutter, but not likely if you use it. So I'm just gonna line it up here, my ruler, like I always do. My hands are going in here against this guide. So if this flips off, it's going to hit the shield, not my hand. And you get lots of stability holding it like this. Makes it really easy. And I feel very safe with this on. So that's called, what's the proper name here? Safety shield, a Lipa safety shield. It has an adhesive backing here. This one has been on for over 5 years on my 6-inch ruler and never even close to coming loose, solid as anything. I don't even know how I would get it off if I had to. It does fit because it's about 22 inches long. You have an inch on either end. So if you keep your rulers in a rack, you can still pop it into the rack, no problem, because it's clear. This doesn't go right down to the bottom. So any 24-inch ruler, and they are $14.99. So worth every penny when it comes to your safety. The next thing I want to show you is, mine is Fons and Porter. It's a mechanical pencil. So it works just like any mechanical pencil. You press and the lead comes out. It's a 0.9 millimeter lead and it's ceramic. So it makes a really nice fine mark. It can mark on paper if you're a crafter, paper, wood, can mark on a whole bunch of things, but of course we're using it for fabric here. The newer version, I don't know if it's, this one is discontinued. Now Bohin is making the same thing with the same ceramic lead. Works the same, just looks a little different. It's red instead of turquoise, but it works exactly the same. They come with a variety of different colors, not come with, you can add a variety of different colored leads. So if you're working on white fabric and you want a darker lead, there's a blue, a yellow, it comes with the white, you can get extra whites, and there's also a pink that you can get. Mine is currently loaded with a pink, and it has an eraser tip on the end, so you can easily get rid of the marks. So I'm going to show you how this marks and erases on my leg. My pants that I just pressed, I'm going to mark them all up. Can you see that? What you see there is just the white eraser. The pink line is gone. And these are polyester, this isn't cotton. But a good rub, and if I even took this lint brush, that would be totally gone. There's no pink left, it's just the rub. So I'm going to show you these little micro brushes. They are like a Q-tip, only they're metal, and the top is very flexible. I don't know if you can see that, but it's very bendable, and when you put it inside those little crevices in your machine, it's almost like this tip is oiled or something because the dust sticks to it. It's like magic. And this flexible head, it'll curve and get in and get lots of stuff out. And I know Velma used this yesterday on her rotary cutter, which works really well, but I love it on the machine. So I sewed with some flannel and some inky this morning, trying to get it good dirty. I can't tell you if it's dirty because if I cleaned it to see, it wouldn't be dirty anymore. So I'm hoping that there's still some dirt in here. So you would wipe it with your typical brush, like you would normally do. Take out your bobbin. You can take off your plate. And then you're good to go. So I would start with my bobbin. I'd go way back in behind. Wherever you can, you're not going to hurt anything by digging around, because this thing is so flexible and gentle, it won't hurt anything. And you'll gather up gobs of dust. Anything where there's a hole, you can stick it in, work it around, and I'm not finding any dust. That darn flannel had no dust. This has never happened before, it's always gobs. Whenever I'm working with my machine and it misses stitches, or the thread's getting bungled up, or anything isn't working properly, the first thing I do is rethread the top, try it. If it's still no better, I redo the bobbin, not rewind it, just take it out and put it in again. And if that's not working, then I go to town cleaning it. And if those two things haven't worked, the stuff that I can take out of the machine is unbelievable with this. And you'll get, I can't believe there's nothing, all that flannel and minky and nothing. A little bit there. A little bit there, not a lot. So I just pull that off, throw it in the garbage, and good to go again. These come a package, I don't know, there's probably 20 or so. I could read it, but I'm not gonna bother. There's a whole bunch in here. You can reuse, this will last you for the rest of your life. And they're $5.99. Because I just keep them in here, reuse them. I don't care if it's a new one or an old one, they all pick up the same. Except when it's already clean. Sorry. So Lori mentioned something that I didn't even think of. She uses one of these, she keeps one in her kitchen, and anytime she has a little mess in the corner of something that she can't quite get that cloth into, these dig it out beautifully. So, a new plan for me too, one in the kitchen. So this is iron off. It's like a toothpaste consistency, and you squeeze a little bit. You see how dirty the iron is? You see that? So you squeeze a little bit out. The iron has to be super hot. So you want a cloth that you can wipe, you can fold it enough to keep your hands protected. You don't want a little thin tissue and start wiping that because that's going to be very, very hot. So you take a little bit on your cloth, double it up, so you're not going to get burned, and it just melts it away. Trying to get you to see so I can't see. That's been on there a while. It's a stubborn one. I think there's a scratch there underneath it. And you can just see how it melts. It kind of bubbles and melts right down. And then when I'm done, yeah, there's a bit of a scratch on that iron. I take it and I give it a shot of steam, just in case I got any of that toothpaste stuff into the holes of the steam. I just make sure that I give it a good shot and clean out the holes. Good to go. So we have iron off, we have the Bohin mechanical pencil, we have the guide, the ruler shield, the electric seam ripper, and the little rubber seam ripper to pull the threads out. So that's it for today. Thanks so much for watching.
These are a few of my favorite